All right, welcome everybody to Wednesday Night Yin. We're starting on our back today. Now we're using the bolsters tonight, right? If you don't have a bolster at home, you can use the pillow from your bed or couch cushion, or if you have a blanket or something, you can use the blanket and just fold it up. All we're gonna do right now with the bolster, and I'll give you alternatives if you don't have one as we go through, right, is we're gonna lie on our back with the bolster underneath our knees. It's gonna look like this. And you're just laying flat. Otherwise, if you want a blanket under your head, you can. You can let your legs fall open a little bit more. You've got that bolster underneath your knees. Just takes the pressure off your low back. This makes you feel a little bit better. So that's where I want you to start. I'm sitting up so I can talk. But you're just going to take your first few moments to arrive here. Just let yourself relax into the mat. It's yin, so we don't have to control our breath, but we do want to bring that focus to the breath. As you're letting that breath take over, it's guiding you, grounding you to your mat. Bringing you to full presence on your mat, right? You're not, once you bring your focus to your breath, you're not going to be thinking about whatever already happened to you today. You're not going to think about all the things on your to-do list. For once you get home tonight, really get that breath to take over. You're just right here on your mat, present to this moment. That's what we want. That's where you're trying to get right here. This is okay if you take a moment, have all of those thoughts float through your head. I'm gonna scroll through now. As you bring your focus to your breath, hopefully then they'll fade to the background and let you stay here present for the rest of your practice. Few more breaths here. Then when you're ready, you're going to come, roll to one side or the other. So roll right off that bolster, all right? And then come sit up. Now, I haven't even told the people here in the studio yet what we're going to do, right? But I want us all to do this tonight. So you're going to find a little bit of wall space. Now, if you're in the front row here, right, you're gonna use the mirror as your wall. Don't worry, you're not gonna get that up close and personal with it, right? If you're in the back, you're gonna use the wall as your wall space. You can maybe turn to the side and use that wall if you want to do this thing, right? Here's what you're gonna do. Take your bolster with you wherever you're going. Right, I'm gonna come right here, because hopefully the will still be able to see hand camera. Right, now I'm gonna sit, it's like we're going into the wall, except, right, you're gonna be a little bit further away from the wall. So I'm gonna lie on my back, my heels are gonna be on the wall, right? So I don't have my whole leg on the wall. And then what you're gonna do here, you're gonna press into your palms, and you're gonna lift your hips up. So I'm pressing my feet into the wall for a second so I can bring the bolster under my hips. And then my legs are just gonna go forward. Now they're not up the wall, right, like we usually do. They're at an angle, I'm just resting my heels on the wall. And then you're gonna take your arms out to a T. Let your palms come face up. So it looks like this. Now, right, this is why you can do it on the mirror, because all you're really doing is resting your heels on the mirror if you're there. Right? And you can go sideways, that wall over there, go against the mirror, or you can come to this back wall. Now, if you're at home, right, and you have some wall space and you have a bolster, then you can do exactly what I just did. If you don't have a bolster, you can do it without the bolster, just laying flat on your back. If you have a bolster but no wall space, right, what you want to do then is have the bolster underneath you, underneath your hips, right, and just keep your feet on the ground. So you look like this, right, kind of like a supported bridge, right? If you don't have any of that, you don't have wall space, you have a bolster, if you can think you can lie in legs in waterfall for 3 minutes, then you do that, right? Take your arms out to a T, or you can grab behind your legs. And again, if that's not gonna happen, then you're just gonna lie here in constructive rest with your arms open. So lots of different variations, depending on what stuff you have and don't have. We're trying to stay here for a total of 3 minutes. So I should pay attention to when that started. Your feet are still up above your head, your heart. So we're getting that same benefit, right? A little less dramatic. That's why we can stay here for longer. But it is really relaxing, just like we talked about when we were centering earlier. You're just trying to bring that focus to the breath. You don't have to control it. But observe your breath, catalog your breath. I'm gonna lie here, right, in a supported waterfall. This is an option if you have no leg space or no wall space. It is right here, not that long. Do the same thing with your hips flat on the ground. Do the same thing, holding around your knees. 2 more minutes, wherever you are. roll to one side or the other. So kind of rolling again off your bolster and pushing up. And you can come around here, back to your mat. And then you're going to take the bolster. Now, like we did before, right, we're going to have the bolster underneath our knees. If you're at home, you have a bolster. Again, if you have a pillow or a blanket or something, right, even a stack of books, a yoga block that can prop those knees up just a little bit, right? So you look like this. As you're here, you can see where my heels are on the ground, right? I'm not bending my knees so much as my feet are flat on the ground, right? We're just letting those knees come up a little bit. My heels are touching the ground, flexing the toes so they come back towards your face. Now we're going to come into a fold from here, right? So you're just going to slide your hands along your legs, let them go over your knees, and just bring your chest as far forward as you can, right? I want you to settle into this. It's yin, right? So we don't need to reach and grab, right? That's really a yang action. If you slide forward and your hands naturally get to your feet, then you can hold on to them, right? Just let yourself glide forward and see where you land. We're going to take 2 more minutes here. All right, now slowly peel up here. Right, now you're going to slide that bolster out from underneath you, right? Or whatever you've had over there, right? Put that to the side. We're just going to lie flat now. I'm trying to get the whole body into this frame here. So I'm going to lie flat on my back. Now, you're going to take your arms up overhead. Right? So I'm lying flat with my arms overhead.
Look at you close.
Just move away from the wall now. We're going to just come into a banana stretch here. So what does that mean? It means you're going to walk both feet over to the right. If it feels okay, you're going to pick up your left heel and just hook it over your right ankle. Now then you're going to walk your hands over to the right. Now you want to keep that left shoulder anchored, right? So that left arm kind of coming around back behind your head. You can grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand and you pull it over to the right. So everything's coming to the right, right? You want to keep that left hip down on the ground here, right? You're not trying to roll over to your right side. Keep the left shoulder, left hip anchored, but take your arms and your legs over to the right. So you're in the shape of a banana. pose, Bananasana. 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 Something like that. Just say it. Probably put too many syllables in there. So you're here in that shape. And we do this all the time when we're warming up in vinyasa or as a stretch at the end of our vinyasa class. We're here in yin and we get to hold it a little longer. Different things start to come up. Maybe it's a challenge to keep your left hip, left shoulder down on the mat. Just really feel that left side opening up. You can always release that left wrist, right? And just keep reaching that left hand over there, maybe without pulling it with your right hand. But if it feels okay to grab the right wrist, or grab the left wrist with the right hand and pull it over, you can, right? And it's the same with your feet. Maybe that left foot just sets down and both feet walk over to the right. It feels good. Put that heel over. One more minute here. All right, now from here, you're gonna release. You're gonna walk everything back straight. So you step that left foot back over. Right, so take both feet straight in front of you. Take your arms overhead. Now we're gonna take everything the other direction. So you're gonna walk your feet over to the left. Keep that right hip anchored, right? So walk both feet over to the left. Maybe even take your right heel, hook it over your left ankle. And then your arms are gonna sweep over to the left. So again, you wanna keep that right shoulder anchored. So it's like your right arm is sweeping around back behind your head. And then if it feels good, your left hand grabs a hold of your right wrist. You're pulling everything over to the left. So now you're starting to feel that opening in the right side body. It's the same thing we were just doing, just go in the other direction. Let's take 2 minutes here. You guys see right there in that Bananasana to the left side. your hands. Step that right foot over, right? So you're coming back. It's that nice big pencil stretch. Point your toes like the tip of a pencil. Reach your fingertips towards the back of the room. And then take your knees into your chest. Now you're going to take your hands, decrease your knees here. You're going to rock yourself up to seated, or you can just roll to the side if that feels better, right? And we're going to bring ourselves around into tabletop. Now, in your tabletop, right, so we're holding these poses for longer. If it feels better to you, will feel better to you, put a blanket or some sort of padding underneath your knees, right? And then you're going to take your bolster. Now your bolster is going to come right in front of you, right? So I'm on my tabletop, it looks like this. I've got that bolster right in front of me. Back a little bit here. All right, so the bolster's in front of me. I'm here on tabletop. Now, what we're going to do here, right? You're going to come into melting heart, but we're going to do it with the bolster. And again, if you don't have a bolster at home, you can do this with a pillow. You can do it with a blanket. You can do it with a yoga block, or you can just come to a regular melting heart. But when we use the bolster, right, or anything else, you're going to bring your elbows to the bolster. Now, in melting heart, I should say this first, right? Melting heart is kind of a combination between a child's pose and tabletop. So your hips stay over your knees, right? But other than that, you reach those arms forward, let your head come down to the bolster. So it looks like this. That's just me straight on. I'm going to take it over here so you can see it from the side. My hips stay over the knees. Take your elbows onto the bolster. Let your head drop to the bolster. Now, if you don't have a bolster, you can use it at home again. This is what a melting heart looks like normally, right? You're just here walking your hands out, letting your head come all the way down to the mat. So again, different places to go with this. Find what feels the best to you. If you send your hips a little bit back, it's okay. My hips start to come back towards my heels, but you don't want to sit all the way down on your heels like you do in child's pose. We'll do that eventually, but not right now. Having the bolster for the elbows and the head to land on just makes it a little nicer, a little more comfortable, and cush for all your joints to be supported by your neck, your elbows. All of these poses that we're doing tonight are meant to soothe anxiety, right? A lot of us have anxiety going on now. This world starts to change around again. We're trying to figure out what's going to happen, what things are going to look like. Just saying in yoga, and I've said it before, but anxiety is when you're constantly looking forward into the future. Depression is when you're always looking back, you're always holding on to the past. Those things are that pleasant, right? We don't want to be anxious, we don't want to be depressed. That's why we need to teach ourselves to be in the present moment. That's what yin can do for you. It's a skill you can take to the rest of the world. yourself back to tabletop. The bolster's still in front of you, right? Now once you're in tabletop, just let your hips come to one side or the other. You're gonna swing your legs around in front of you. Now, what we're gonna do here, right? We're gonna take the bolster in front of you like it was. We're gonna come to bound ankle, but you're gonna put your feet on the bolster. So it's like this. Right? And then your hands are gonna come to your feet. So you're right here. Now you can push the bolster further away, right? Takes a little more pressure off the legs, not as much sensation. The closer you pull the bolster in, with your feet on it, obviously, right? The more sensation you're gonna feel. So you adjust it where it's comfortable for you. We're gonna be able to hang out for a couple minutes. And then all we're gonna do here, you're just leaning forward slightly, right? So keep your back nice and flat. You're not trying to get your head down to your feet. Just bring that chest a little bit forward. It should feel good, right? You always have the option to sit completely up if you like that better, in the crown of your head to go towards the ceiling. I'm sitting completely up right now, right? And then I feel like I can't, because I slid the bolster a little further away. I can't reach my feet, and I don't want to reach and grab for them, right? So I just let my hands come to my shins. If you've got those legs closer in, you can easily reach your feet, then you're going to do that. Again, if you lean your chest forward, maybe your hands can walk past your feet, the edge of the bolster, right? These are all great places to be. Just giving you examples of what you could do. I'm not telling you what you have to do. Right, now we're slowly going to peel up here, right? And then you're going to take your feet off the bolster, right? So your feet are just on the ground, knees up to the sky. Take the bolster over to the left, right? Now, as the bolster comes to the left, you're going to take your right leg, and you're just going to extend that right leg all the way along in front of you. If you want a blanket or a towel or something underneath your right foot, you can do that, right? And then you're going to bring the sole of your left foot against your right inner thigh, right? But you're going to let that left knee come to the bolster, right? So again, maybe you have to push, if your knee naturally comes down a lot, maybe you have to push that bolster further away so that it can land at the natural point, right? If your knee is usually way up here, then maybe you've got that bolster all the way in, give you a little more support, right? So you find where it's going to work for you, and then we're going to angle ourselves towards this right foot. And just like we did in that bound ankle, you're just going to start to walk over your right leg. We're not trying to reach and grab, just bring your chest forward. Maybe your hands are on the ground on either side of your right leg, like mine are. Maybe they rest on your ankle or your shin or your knee. Maybe, if it's not too much of a reach, it almost is here for me, your hands are on your feet, right? Just let it be gentle. Let yourself just sink into it, right? You don't have to push yourself into it. Take a couple minutes right here. Right, now slowly peel up here, right? And then pick your left foot back up. So you're putting your left foot on the ground, knee to the sky. Bring the right foot to join it. We're gonna do that same thing going the other way. So you're gonna take your bolster, blanket, block, whatever you have, to the other side, right? And then from there, we extend that left leg all the way along, bringing the sole of the right foot against the left inner thigh and letting your knee come to the bolster. Again, you can adjust how far away from that bolster is from you, how much support your knee needs, based on how much support your knee needs. Right. I didn't say this when we did that, the bound ankle or on the other side, but if you don't have a bolster, right, it's just a normal version of the pose, right? You're just in a regular, everyday half butterfly. And you're gonna fold over the left leg. We're all gonna fold over the left leg, right? You're angling yourself towards it, and then you're just walking out as much as feels comfortable. you're ready, slowly walk it up here, all right? We're gonna do a little square pose on each side here to open up the hips for our next pose. Now, when we do this, right, if you have a block, maybe you want to use the block. Some people like the block better. I'm going to use the bolster because that's what I have here, right? You can use whatever you have at home. You can use the bolster. You can use the block. If you don't have any of those things, then you can do the full version of the pose, or you can do one of the other alternatives I'm going to give you, right? So when we come into square, right, you're going to take your right shin across the mat, right? So it looks like this. So your right foot is over towards the left side of the mat. The right knee is to the right side. Now I'm going to have my bolster right in front of me here, like this. If you're just using a block, you just have the block right in front of your right knee, right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left leg across, and my left knee is going to be on the bolster. My left foot is going to be just in front of my right knee. So it looks like this, right? I'll come from the side too so you can see the side. It looks like this, right? So my right foot is not on the bolster, my left leg totally on the bolster. Again, you can do this just by having a block, putting the block in front of your foot and letting that foot rest on the block. You can do this, right? Just bringing your left foot on top of your right knee. And it looks like this, right? Your left knee then comes right over your right foot. That's the traditional version of the pose, right, without any props. Now, that can be challenging for a lot of people, right? If it feels good to you and you don't have any props, this might be the way to go, right? If it's too challenging for you and you don't have any props, then you're just gonna drop it into easy sit. Just make sure that your left leg is in front of your right, okay? So lots of different options there. Find which one feels the best to you. I stay here with the bolster, left leg on the bolster. Now, what do you do from here? You bring your hands in front of your left shin, wherever your left shin is, on a bolster, on a block, on the ground, right? And you start to bring your chest towards your left shin. The further that you bring your chest towards the shin, the more sensation you feel. Maybe it was enough. You're sitting up mostly tall. You just got your hands on your left shin or just in front of it. Maybe you're rocking your hands down off the bolster onto the floor. Maybe you're pressing that belly all the way to the left thigh. If you have great flexibility and you can do that, then you should. You can't go quite that far down, but it's gonna feel like some sensation in that right hip. And that's what we want here. So you wanna take it to that place. Feel a lot of sensation, not so much that it makes you fidget and wanna get out of the pose. But you wanna back it off so much that you're not feeling anything. Right? That's that edge we have to find in the end. Now let's slowly bring it up here, right? And then we're gonna do this pose on the other side. So step your left foot off the bolster, swing your right leg around, right? Bolster in front, so now the bolster's in front of you. We're gonna do that, so this time the left leg is gonna go on the bottom, right? So bring that left shin parallel to the front of your mat with your left foot going towards the right and your left knee to the ground. Now you can take the bolster right in front of you, and again, you just put that right foot right in front of your left knee on the bolster, so that your whole right leg is on the bolster. You can be here, or if you have a block, right? In the block, pretend this is a block, right? And I just have a little block there, and my foot is resting on the block. I want to make sure that that right knee comes right over the left foot. Now again, if you want to do the full version of the pose, it would be you just have that left foot, or that right foot, sorry, on top of the left knee. Looks like this. Got some space in between the foot and the knee, well, at least I do. If you had perfect flexibility, your right knee would be directly on top of your left foot, right? So that's an option too. None of that works for you and you don't have any props, then just come into easy sit. Make sure your right leg is the one in front if you're doing that, right? And then from there, we just fold over the legs, bring your hands in front of your right shin. Walk it out as much as you can. All right, now we're slowly gonna come up here. Unwind your legs, step that right foot off, bring that left foot up. Now what we're gonna do here, right? You're gonna take your bolster to the back of your mat. It's gonna come along parallel to your mat, so it's like this, all right? You're gonna lie back over your bolster, all right? So I'm gonna bring the bolster right into my low back, right? And then from there, I'm gonna lie all the way down over the bolster. Right, so your hips are on the ground. Hopefully your shoulders, your back, your head are all on the bolster. Right now, from here, it's easier to move around. Right. Now, from here, take your arms out to that T position. So your arms are out long, right? And then just pick your right foot up, right? Bring that right knee toward your chest. And then you're gonna take your right hand, just bring it to your right foot. If you can't grab onto your right foot, then you grab around your knee, put that knee in, right? So you're just pulling that right knee back towards you. Now we're not gonna stay here for 2 minutes, right? Pretend like you're trying to pull that right knee past your right shoulder. You can kick your leg up to the sky a little bit if that feels good to you. You don't have to, you can keep it bent, keep it pulling in. Like I said, you could just be here, hugging that knee in, if that's all that works for you. Laying flat on your back. If you don't have a bolster, that's what you're doing, right? You're just laying flat on your back. Just take about 4 more breaths here. And then release that right knee. Set your right foot down on the mat. And we're gonna switch sides. So you're gonna take that left knee, pull it in, right? Again, you can just be grabbing around that knee, pulling it in. You can take your hand and grab a hold of your left foot or your left ankle, your left shin, whatever works for you, right? Trying to pull that left knee. You can see it better on this side, right? It's like I'm trying to pull that left knee past my left shoulder. You can stay here with this deep bend in your knee, or you can start to kick that leg up to the sky if that feels good. It doesn't have to get all the way straight. Be anywhere in between fully straight and fully bent. Let's take 4 more breaths here. And release that left foot. Now just set both feet on the ground. Like I should. See what's going on. So you have both feet on the ground. Now you're taking your arms out to that T again. We're just gonna do our twist from here, right? So your feet, your knees are just gonna go over to the right. Now see, my feet didn't even come off the ground, right? I just came onto the knife edge of my feet. And my knees fall over. Got my arms still out in that T position. I'm looking over my left shoulder, letting that left shoulder be supported by the bolster. Now bring your knees back to center here. And then set your feet flat on the ground. Just go the other way with that. Drop your knees over to the left as you look over your right shoulder. Bring your knees back up to center here. All right, and now we're going to set up for our final pose, our Shavasana. Right, maybe you want to keep lying over the bolster like this. Maybe you extend your legs all the way long. Right, if you don't want to, just let yourself roll off the bolster. You can put it back under your knees like it was before, under your hips, right, or under your head. Whatever is most comfortable to you. Right, find that place. If you hate the bolster, you're sick of the bolster, push it off to the side. Just lay flat on your back. Right, find somewhere to be where you're perfectly comfortable, where you're going to be able to stay perfectly still, where your mind is going to be able to go perfectly quiet. I'm going to bring everybody who's here in the studio a little spray. The towel, we're going to do this with some salt tonight. Spray it. If you're at home, you have a towel. Just put the towel over your eyes. If you don't, just let your eyes are closed. Let your breath guide you, ground you here as well. Bring your complete focus to it. Make sure that you're not trying to exert control of it. Allow your breath to guide you. Allow yourself to follow it. Follow it right to that place where there's nothing left in your mind but you and your breath. When you arrive there, that's your true quiet of the mind. That's where you want to be. Now slowly start to come back into the room. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, feeling that increased sensation that comes with a quiet mind. If you want to here, you can take your arms overhead, do a nice full, deep body stretch. And then from there, everybody's going to roll over onto their right or left side, in a fetal position. Take a couple breaths right there. Just reacclimate to our space, the sights and sounds in the room come back to you. Take as long as you need right here. Then when you're ready, only when you're ready, push yourself up to seated, and we'll close here. All right, so let's close with our two Bhamari breaths, and then at Om. The Bhamari breath, we inhale as we exhale, like that little humming sound in the back of the throat. Om is the universal syllable, uses all parts of the throat. You can join me in these breaths, so you can just listen. Let's close our eyes here. We'll inhale together. Inhaling again. And then we'll inhale one final time and Om. Let your eyes drift open. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you, all of you, for sharing your energy, your practice with me this evening. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. All right. So I won't be here next Wednesday because I'll be away, right? But I will see you guys all in 2 weeks. Don't forget, if you're used to coming on Saturday morning, there's no Saturday morning class this week because I won't be here and Heidi won't be here. But Angie will be here Sunday morning. She's a little gentle at 10 a.m., so come join her for that. She'll be here tomorrow morning with a little yin yang too, and Liza will be here Friday morning with some Pilates bar. So you guys all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.